In the previous video, we learned how we can utilize C++ in our Swift code. In this video, we're going to discuss package management, third-party libraries, and how we can utilize CocoaPods to install libraries and frameworks into our projects. There are a couple of popular ways to import libraries and frameworks into your project. They each have their advantages and disadvantages, and no current solution is perfect. I should mention, however, that Apple has announced their own dependency manager called Swift Package Manager, which has a lot of developers very excited to move to something better. The bad news is, as of this recording, the Swift Package Manager doesn't yet support iOS. Currently, the most popular dependency manager is CocoaPods, which is what I'll demonstrate here. We're going to enhance our Game of Life application with the ability to connect to a server to post and receive high scores. We'll utilize CocoaPods to install Alamo Fire, which is a sleek and popular alternative to Swift's native NSURL session. We'll start by installing CocoaPods if you haven't already. Open up a terminal by pressing Command Space and then entering Terminal into search. Once Spotlight finds Terminal, hit Enter and Terminal will launch. Before I get started, what I'm about to demonstrate will alter your file system, so please do so at your own risk. Having said that, if you do encounter issues, you can visit this video's resource page where you'll find troubleshooting tips. You'll also see a comment section. You can leave a comment and I'll try to help. With Terminal open, type sudo gem install CocoaPods, which will install in Ruby inside your OS X system library. Once complete, type pod setup -- verbose, which may take a few minutes as it clones the CocoaPods master specs repository to your computer. The verbose option logs progress as the process runs rather than showing you a static or seemingly frozen screen. With CocoaPods installed, we can now add a pod file to our project. Assuming that you've got your project on your desktop, we'll navigate to our project folder using Terminal. Type ls and then press Enter to list your initial directory. You should see Desktop as one of your options. Next, type cd desktop and press Enter to navigate to your desktop. Once there, type ls and press Enter to list your desktop contents. On my desktop, we see Game of Life, which has some spaces which require escaping in Terminal. Fortunately, we can use the Tab button to get Terminal to autocomplete our directory name for us. Type cd game and then hit Tab, and you should see cd Game of Life printed for you, and hit Enter. Now that we're sitting at our project's root directory, we can install our pod file by typing pod init, which will initialize pods for this project. After your pod is initialized, type open-a xcode pod file and hit Enter. This will open your pod file in a plain text editor for you. Next, we'll navigate to the Alamo Fire GitHub page for directions. Once there, scroll down until you see this bit of code here and copy it. We'll add it to our pod file between do and end. Before we save and close, let's look at this pod file structure. At the top, we see a target which points to our Game of Life application. Next, we see source, which specifies the location where the library or framework should be retrieved. Then we have platform. Here we place the lowest supported operating system version, in this case, iOS 8. Next, we have use frameworks, which tells CocoaPods to install this package as a Swift framework rather than a Swift library. There are several benefits to using frameworks over libraries. The most obvious is that libraries are usually only the executable code, while frameworks offer a bundle with a directory structure that include additional resources like documentation, assets, and configuration files. Finally, we see the pod followed by the pod name we're going to install and the versioning. Now, back in Terminal, we'll enter pod install, which installs Alamo Fire into our project. Once complete, you'll see a similar screen. Now, we'll open up our project using our new workspace that's generated by CocoaPods. Open your project folder on your desktop, and then click on the new file with the white icon ending in .xc workspace. We'll be working from this file from now on. Open your view controller and add Import Alamo Fire at the top. You'll notice that Xcode complains. This is because we haven't linked this library yet. To do so, we'll click on our project's root directory. Then we'll select our application under Targets and select Build Phases. Under link binary with libraries, we'll add Alamo Fire, which should resolve our error in Xcode. Although we will be using Alamo Fire in upcoming videos, we won't be covering the Alamo Fire API in great detail, since it's not the focus of this course. I'll make sure to add some example usage to this video's resource page. In this video, we have successfully installed CocoaPods and then used CocoaPods to add Alamo Fire to our Game of Life application. In the next video, we'll incorporate an Objective-C library manually.